Alright, so first things first, congratulations to Scottie Barnes. And in case y'all missed it, I did have a take that I made earlier where I was showing the statistics, deep advanced stats, essentially, focusing on PER and, essentially metrics that are usually overlooked, and showing just how effective Scottie Barnes was at the time and has been all season, quite frankly, in comparison to Mobley and Cunningham. So Scottie, by winning the Rookie of the Year, really reinforced the facts that I was making in that video. So if y'all haven't checked that out, first of all, let's get that out of the way. First of all, congratulations to the Rookie of the Year, Scottie Barnes. I'm so happy for our Florida State 6'7" Swiss Army knife prospect, who a lot of people didn't even want him. Do you remember, over Suggs? Come on. How genius do Masai and Bobby look right now? It's amazing to see. That's first. Second, all those broomsticks we've been seeing in the comments lately? I don't know if y'all have been paying attention. I'm sure some of y'all have seen. But what ammo did we have really to say much back at these salty Philly fans who still remember the wounds that we inflicted upon Embiid and themselves just a couple of years ago? Or more like how Marc Gasol made Embiid cry every time they faced each other. Now, I'm not one to be petty about things. That's the word, petty. But honestly, where y'all at now? Y'all are probably gonna come back here and talk about a 3-1 lead and whatnot. But need I remind y'all that Doc Rivers is your coach. And he's blown the most 3-1 leads in NBA history, as y'all probably already know. Most of y'all know. Right? And Nick Nurse actually, earlier in an interview today, I believe it was today, check out what he had to say.
No team's ever come back from 0-3.
Yep.
I mean, you've been on the staff when this franchise has been down 0-3. How do you sort of make it meaningful to players when everybody knows it's never been done?
Well, I think it's a heck of a challenge, and somebody's got to do it. That's the way I look at it. Somebody's got to do it. And if it gets to 3-1, it's not 3-0 anymore. And 3-1's been done.
If that's not a subliminal message, you know what I mean? Or like a little knock on Doc Rivers, you know what I mean? Like, he's definitely, I don't know if that was deliberate by him, but, why did he smile so much at the end of that? You know what I mean? And why was the reaction so, it had something to do along those lines, you know what I mean? And am I saying, look, I'm not trying to say that, this is now definitely, Toronto's going to take it now at this point. But now, if we think about it like this, Philly has to go back to their home, win. The pressure is going to be now on them. They only have really one game, and now with Joel Embiid, first of all, I'm going to get to him. I don't want to get sidetracked here. So many things going on in my mind about this game. But what I will say is Philly's going to go back home. They're going to have to win that game. If they don't, then it's game 6 in Toronto. And then the pressure is truly, truly on. And for those who know this team and have watched them play all season, we build on momentum pretty well. If we lose a string of games, we come back with a string of games. And having that kind of identity, what better time to have that kind of identity than right now? Like, it's truly exciting right now just to understand that we now have a true shot. We're back in this series with a Doc Rivers-led team that's now actually shaken and banged up. And look at Embiid right now. I actually gained respect for Embiid, especially after that game-winning shot. After a while, I'm like, you know what? Maybe he's not that dirty. Maybe he's actually, he can play clean. And, maybe he deserves that MVP. But now, after that immature act of his, like, why do you want kids growing up who are playing basketball? Why do you want kids growing up idolizing someone like that with that kind of attitude. It's not about the gameplay. He's a phenomenal talent. But it's about the fact that kids are going to start rocking that kind of attitude. When they're losing, they're going to start playing dirty and pushing mans around, drawing fouls. You know, just because he's Joel Embiid, just abusing that power that he has, feeling entitled to calls. Nah, man. The Raptors have championships, people who won championships, players who won championships on their team. And they don't play with that kind of ego. What kind of team do you want to cheer for? Y'all as basketball fans, I'm talking about not Raptors fans, but even any basketball fan, what kind of team do you want to cheer for, man? A team that has this seemingly unlimited ceiling, that's young, that has humble players, that don't back down like that under pressure. Like, this is the most pressure. Like, you know what I mean? I mean, it's a 3-0 like pride win we just pulled out. Philly wanted to seal the deal. Embiid, from the start, wanted to seal the deal, man. Alvin Williams or Jack Armstrong, I'm not sure who it was, but they were mentioning it. They're like, yo, Embiid wanted to seal it, but it's not happening. And now they have to go back to Philly with the injured Embiid, and he's really grimacing. You know, he's pissed that he can't play the way he can. And I'm not saying, oh, just because Embiid is banged up, that's how we're gonna win. Nah, man. Y'all know we took the season series. Y'all know Philly tried in those games. Y'all know we didn't even have our best player. First of all, Fred VanVleet went out in this game. He's our all-star. Now, granted, he hasn't been the best, but why hasn't he been the best? First of all, he banged up knee. You know what I mean? Banged up a hip now. The man was so pissed he had to leave. He ripped his jersey. You know, he's usually a very composed guy, for the most part. Good leader, humble leader. A lot of y'all may say that, yo, because Freddie was out, you know, like, we won, maybe. I mean, whatever it is, yo, we won the game. And I couldn't be prouder of this team right now. You don't, first of all, and going back to that Embiid thing, you don't play dirty, man. You simply just don't. It's a bad example. If I was a kid and I'm in school trying to learn how to be a basketball player, and you know, my coach tells me, go watch more NBA players. You know, I'm a center. You know, for example, I like 6 more inches on me or 7 more inches on me. And I go look at the best centers in the league. I'm looking at Jokic, I'm looking at Embiid. Who do you think I'm gonna pick? If I have if I wanna, like, you know, really get that, what do I call it? Like that full embodiment of what it means to be a professional basketball player. The word professional here is very key. Joel Embiid is young and he has some maturing to do, man. Still. In his prime. And it's like that sort of kind of DeMarcus Cousins vibe, but lesser version. You know, DeMarcus Cousins like Embiid on steroids, you know, angry. Like, you know, like, I don't know what better way to describe it. But let's, you know, before I ramble on about all that, let me just say this. In terms of the game itself, Pascal Siakam, Spicy P, way to shut the haters up, man. You know, I saw too many videos being posted right after game 3. Pascal Siakam has proven himself unworthy. Hasn't even been able to put together a playoff performance. He is not a number one. He's not capable of being a number one option. Hey man, listen, evidence was there for this to be the case if you don't know the man. I've been saying since the start, and not just me, there are a few other basketball minds out there that have still continued to have faith in Pascal. Like NBA Chev, he talks about it. You know what I mean? Like, right now off the top of my head, it's hard to even think about that many like basketball minds other than Chev right now off the top of my head that really had that faith in Pascal. You know, I've been making videos about it since the start. You know, every time I make a Pascal Siakam video, I won't even get that many views on it. And I was surprised. I'm like, you know, search volume. Like lower than like Scottie Barnes. Obviously, Scottie Barnes, big thing, 4th overall pick. You know, but Pascal Siakam's been an all-star. You know, but his trending keyword searches, if you look at it on vidIQ Pro or Boost, you can see that search volume is like lower than even when Scottie just got drafted. Obviously, Scottie, you know, like bigger name and whatnot, and it's like you can't really compare. But in a way, it's like, hey, Pascal's been around longer. You'd expect. You know what I mean? And I'm like, yo, I'll make a video on Pascal because I'm hyped up about him. And it would receive less views than videos I make on him. I love all our other players, don't get me wrong. But it was just surprising to see that. It was just interesting to see that. You know, Pascal deserves more views on... Pascal literally deserves more views on his videos. And this is proof why. 34 points. And if we really dig into the stats here, Pascal Siakam tonight, 34 points. He was a plus 13 on the night. 5 assists. He had a steal. He had 2 blocks. He was 10 and 19 from the field. He shot a lot more. He was 13 of 15 from the line, which was great to see. You know, and Anunoby, even though his stats don't really jump out at you that much on the box score, he was instrumental, especially that one play in the 4th quarter. It was late in the 4th quarter, and it was really crunch time at that time. And OG gets the 3-pointer, and then on the other end, he gets the 3-pointer, or I believe it was an and one. Either one of those, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. And he goes back the other way and he swats Joel Embiid, or he gets a steal. Yeah, he gets an interception, I believe. And it was just amazing hustle by him. And OG just continues to shine in this series. He may not shine in the box score, as I said, he was 3 of 13 from the field, 1 of 7 from 3-point range. You know, doesn't shine on those aspects, right? You want him to shoot more efficiently for sure. And I'll get to the team stats in a second, but I'll tell you what, free throws wise, OG Anunoby 4 or 5. Definitely the Raptors overall as a team today made free throw making a priority, and that was something that definitely hurt them in other games, which, you know, could have been much closer if they just made their free throws, which they don't get as many of in comparison to Philly. But in this game, we'll get to that too, right? Because the Raptors finally earned the respect of the referees, and that's something that I will touch on in a few moments. But I will tell you this, Fred VanVleet, he obviously went out with that injury, so he didn't really like affect the box score that much. But you want to see a little bit more efficiency from Freddie in this game compared to his other games. 2 of 6 from the field, so really he was only 1 shot away from 50% from the field there. He was 1 of 3 from 3-point range. Didn't really shoot enough threes to really judge that or assess that. You know, so I'm going to give him a pass in today's game. But he really looked like he had a little bit more. He really wanted it in today's game, and you could tell that in the 15 minutes that he played, right? So he finished with 5 points on the night. He was a +3 on the night. And then Gary Trent Jr., oh my God. Like, talk about a big-time player. At 23 years of age, we're talking about an all-star talent here, guys. This guy comes in from Portland with not even knowing a lick of defense. Like, he had some potential. Of course, in the bubble, we saw the potential, the defensive potential. Even the offensive potential was always seen there. But his drive to get better on the defensive end really shown this year. Like, you know, Nick Nurse challenged him, and I think he really pulled through. I know he pulled through. You know, he was top 3 in the league, finished top 3, was a top 5 in the league in steals. You know, Gary Trent Jr. is the man. In my opinion, he's going to be that one of those players that, you know, you're going to look back at and be like, holy crap, did I really get this guy for 57 mil? You know what I mean? And he was 8 of 20 from the field, you know, but I'm not gonna lie, from 3-point range, he definitely could have shot better. He was 3 of 10 from 3. But at the end of the day, each 3 that he made, you could feel it, and it was a momentum shifter. And that's what you need from big-time players. He's a big-time shot maker. You know, you could never know what you're gonna get with Gary sometimes. You know what I mean? But most of the time this season, you've been getting at least a consistent scoring punch from him. And that's exactly why we've signed this man. Right? And for that defense to be there too, it's just a big bonus. And I'm gonna get to the man himself, Dad Young, true veteran presence. He showed up today. He was a big time factor in tonight's game. He was a +14, team high +14, might I add, on the night. 13 points, 3 steals, 1 block, 5 rebounds, 4 of those were offensive, and he had 5 assists. That's 13, 5, and 5. From Tad Young in 30 minutes. And not to mention, he also had a sprained left thumb, and he played through that injury. A lot of players playing through injury from both teams in the series. Chris Boucher did his thing. He was 4 of 5 from the field, very effective, 1 for 1 from 3-point range. You know what I mean? He saw 19 minutes in this game. He did what we wanted him, what we want from him. He did exactly that. 2 blocks, block Quebecois, you know how it is. 1 steal for him. He was a plus 13 on the night. You know, he was tied with Pascal for second place in the plus minus category on the night, as Tad Young was number 1, and then Pascal and Boucher, of course, at plus 13 each. Chris Boucher finished with 9 points for the night. Precious Achiuwa did his thing, especially that one and you know what? I'm gonna mention something about Precious. I think he has so much potential. I know that Toronto is the best place for him to unlock it. And tonight, I know that he may not have scored that many points, but the points that he did score, obviously, we all remember because they were clutch. And it was that one little hezzy that he did, and then he just drove in, and that footwork at that size, and that dribbling capability at that size. It's so exciting to see the Raptors have so many players which are able to switch. You know, Precious can play. We all know Precious is multi-positional. You know, this guy can guard anybody, and it's just a luxury to have that. And all the things that I've talked about in my previous videos, you know, as that are strengths of the Raptors, they really showed out in this game. It's really backed up everything that I've said. And our rookie phenom, Scottie Barnes, he may have been 1 for 6 from the field. He may not have made all 4 of his 3-pointers, but he was 4 of 5 from the free throw line and had 11 rebounds in this one. He finished with 6 points, 11 boards, 2 assists on a sprained ankle that he actually aggravated in this game, and it was a very scary moment. I believe it was in the second quarter or so when Scottie was in there, and you know, he was looking pretty good, and it was a scare. You know, the whole arena, you could feel the energy. And then we see him go down, and it's like, not when the vibes are like this right now, you know, like this momentum shifting, it's a thing, you know, it's such an apparent thing when you're watching a game, especially when it's a close game and the stakes are so high. You notice that energy matters so much and momentum matters so much. And when it shifts the way that it does in playoff games, the Toronto Raptors' biggest lead in this game was a 14-point lead, whereas Philly's was a 4-point lead. That was huge for us. You know, you're talking about early in the game, because I'm talking about early in the game, we were trading punch for punch with Philly, it seemed like. It was going to be a very close game. And when we pulled away, you know, that was a big sign of things to come. Not just in this series for the Raptors, because I really personally feel like now that we're down 3-1, this is anyone's series. Mark my words, this is anyone's series. But also because the momentum is now on our side, as I was mentioning earlier in the video. The narrative with Doc Rivers and 3-1 leads. And the narrative on the Raptors not backing down. A team that never backs down. A team that is playing, need I remind you, with nothing to lose. Really and truly, we were just not even supposed to be here. But the fact that we are scaring teams, or even were mentioned, how many teams had, how many analysts actually were, you know, like that favored Philly, in the American media especially, were like, yo, Raptors are gonna this is gonna be a tight series. Some people had the Raptors winning this series from the American media. Can't remember the names of them, but I've seen a couple, 1 or 2. I'm like, oh shit, that guy actually has us winning. But most of them had this being a slugfest. So it's just amazing, you know, to see how things can shift in one game. And you know what? Going back to Scottie Barnes winning that Rookie of the Year, when it happened, the way it was announced to him, I feel like just that whole vibe that was created, it was like a team practice this morning, I believe. And just the way it was announced to him. Just imagine what that does for the energy, as I always mention in my takes, for your team. Check this out.
Scottie Barnes!
I guess so.
Yo, Scottie! Did you know it's only been 3 Raptors players in franchise history to win this award? David Stoudemire, me, and a 6'7" rookie from West Palm Beach, Florida, my fellow Florida boy, Scottie Barnes. You're up next, bro. You up next.
Like, how beautiful was that? Right? Like, straight up. No cap. That vibe right there is what an NBA player dreams of. Third Raptor in franchise history to win the prestigious Rookie of the Year award for the NBA. Let's give it up for Scottie, man. This one's for you, Scottie. What a day to be a Raptor fan. What a time to be a Raptor fan, guys. And as I said, you got to take a look at these team stats, man, because that's really the cherry on top of everything here. Because everything that the Raptors stand for as a team, their identity, we played to that. I'm talking about, let me just show you. So in terms of team stats, the fact that we put up more field goals, and that's a key stat if we look at it. So if we look at the attempts first and foremost, that's something that I'm actually referring to when I say team identity. We're talking about 8 more shots. That's 8 more chances for buckets. That can shift the game in your favor. The Raptors, even though they may not shoot the best percentages, they actually shot 0.5 less, so 42.5% for field goal percentage for Philly and 42% for the Raptors in this one. But the Raptors put up more threes as well, 34 threes to Philly's 31. And how do we get these extra opportunities? That's through the offensive rebounding. And that's the next thing I want to talk about. Our offensive rebounding in comparison to Philly, 13 rebounds here, true to our name, 6 offensive rebounds for Philly. The defensive rebounds were close, but those offensive rebounds is what makes up for our lack of ability to shoot a high efficiency because of our lack of execution in terms of our team's half-court offense, right? So that's something that's key. And I would like to see us assist the ball more, move the ball more. But hey man, we're getting a lot of these on putbacks and second chance points. So you can see why sometimes our shots are unassisted. Not to mention, the third thing I want to talk about here and point out is fast break points. And fast break points. We're looking at 21 fast break points for us compared to the 10 that Philly had. And we get out in transition very effectively. We're one of the top 5 teams, as I was mentioning in my previous videos in the Raptors playoff preview, which I'll leave for you on the top right here if you want to take a look at it. That playoff preview will show you right over there that, hey, the Raptors are not to be messed with when it comes to their ability to score in transition. And when the Raptors get out and run, they're extremely hard to stop, especially when you have all these 6'9" mans and with 7-foot wingspans jumping for extra rebounds, right? So you're going to get more shots, more opportunities. And if we make our shots, which we did tonight, at a clip that was enough for us to be able to sustain the lead that we had, and instead of getting worse as the game went on, we actually got better this time as the game went on, as I believe Sherm Hamilton was pointing it out in the mini post game right after the game finished. And I was just like, hey, you know what? This is what we needed. An upwards trajectory, not a downwards trajectory. We always came out swinging in the first 3 games, and it's very good to have, great starts. But this is a 48-minute game. We're talking about a full 4-quarter effort. And if you're not going to put in your full 110% and you're just going to play it just a couple quarters and hope that that's going to be enough with a 19-point or 17-point lead like we had in the last game, for example, it's not enough. We played Raptors basketball in the last game, but we just weren't making the shots that we actually did manage to make in this game. The key shots, the momentum shifting shots, the shots that mattered. Because playoff basketball, every shot matters more than it does in the regular season. And it was just amazing to see that the Raptors were able to do this. We had actually way less fouls than Philly in this game, surprisingly. 26 fouls for Philly, and we only had 20 fouls. That is amazing. And actually, wait, there's one more stat. The bonus stat. A very key stat, I might add. That's 28 extra points on the boards for us from free throws. We shot more free throws in this game, yes, you're hearing this right, than Philly did. Let me repeat that. Toronto Raptors, tonight, in Game 4, scored more points off free throws and attempted more free throws than the 76ers did. The Joel Embiid and James Harden led 76ers. You know, if you want to talk about a beautiful Saturday, you want to talk about like a perfect Saturday, I couldn't write one better for myself. As a Raptors fan, I'm hype. We have a series in our hands. And now, we're taking it to Philly. And whatever happens, I know that we're going to give it our best shot. And our best shot seemed to be a little bit too much for Philly right now to handle. If we're being honest. They were shook. Once you start resorting to violence and, you know, things are not part of the game, and like, you know, those little petty things, you're shook. And that's what I seen tonight. Or today, rather. Let's go Raptors, baby. Let's push it to 7. Let's take it one game at a time. But as Nick Nurse said, 1-3 has been done before. And that's the position that we find ourselves in now. If y'all are new, hit that like and subscribe button. This is Ali from Jurassics. Till next time, peace.